Nerds and geeks, you already know what it is. It's Saturday night, and if you're tuned in, then you know the legendary Saturday nights of the Nerd-O-Roundtable are back.
Thank you. Thank you.
On today's nerdtastically newsworthy episode, we will be discussing not only Marvel's Secret Invasion, but as Tom has now coined it, Indiana Jones and the Thing the Nazis Want. What shall we start with, gentlemen? I don't know where Dr. Liz is yet. She should be joining us, but where do we want to start?
Start with
it's your show, baby.
All right, look, so
Take it away.
So with Dial of Destiny, a film which has been largely panned by critics as being just the absolute worst edition in the Indiana Jones franchise and this, that, or the other. I saw it last night after Later with Mo Kelly. I caught an 11 o'clock show, not knowing that I was going to be in that theater for damn near 3 hours. I don't know what happened, but the Dial of Destiny needs to help me find out where my time is, because by the time I got to my car, it was 2 a.m. and I was like, what the fuck is happening right now?
Well, you got 30 minutes of trailers.
On top of that, there was a lot happening in this film. For me, off the top, I said to myself, you know what? This is a return to solid Indiana Jones form. This to me is a film that is like Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade as far as the storytelling. There was a lot of issues with the plot, the whole concept of the Dial of Destiny. If that would have just been left as a thing that didn't work, but you wanted to stop the Nazis from getting it no matter what, I would have been fine with that. But then when you fucking go through time and do the shit that they did, I said, what the fuck is happening? You lost me. I'm out. Get back to me when you're done dealing with this dumb shit. And then they came back and I said, okay, you know what? I would have probably enjoyed this a lot more if it was a Disney Plus exclusive, but I was not mad at it. Mo, you did not see it, correct?
Hell no.
Anthony, did you see it?
In 30 days. Why am I going to rush to see it?
Well, no, hey, that's a fair point. And I would say to anyone who is going to go see it, if you're like me and you don't like people, if just people sitting next to you saying things like, oh, see, that's a reference to Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Oh, that right there, what he's talking about is that was in the Last Crusade. And you want to look at this motherfucker and say, if you say one more fucking thing, I'm going to thrash you. And then you're thinking to yourself, you know what? I got a family. I don't want to go to jail tonight. If you hate people like I hate people, yes, do what Mo did. Wait that 30 days. It'll be on Disney Plus. But if you have to see it in theaters, I don't think you'll be disappointed. You may walk away saying, it was all right, but it was far from the worst installment in the Indiana Jones franchise. I thought it was fair. It treated Harrison Ford with respect. It treated the story with respect. And I walked out of thinking to myself, I'm not mad. What say you, Tom?
If you went to see The Flash in the theaters, you need to support Indiana Jones in the Dial of Bullshit titles. It's a much better movie than The Flash. And to Tuala's point, since they saved the time travel bullshit literally until the last 15 minutes of the movie, you don't have to deal with that. You just deal with the rollicking kind of Indiana Jonesiness of it. I have to say, I went in with very low expectations because, like everybody else, I read the reviews. I saw the Rotten Tomatoes. There was an interesting disparity between audience reactions and critic reactions, which was intriguing to me. But in the first sequence, which takes place entirely in the past with a de-aged Harrison Ford, I was like, this is a fucking Indiana Jones movie. I am completely not mad at this. It had fucking wild action. He was, doing some of his funny stuff. They had, some jokes about him not being able to speak German and doing all this stuff. And there's the dial and there's the this and there's the lance that stabbed Jesus, but it's a fake. And it was a whole bunch of very Indiana Jones-ish stuff. And then you flash forward, and it's very much like when he's at the beginning of Raiders, where he's just teaching in a classroom, but because it's 30 years later in real time, the kids are all bored. instead of the girl in front with the "I love you" and he's a lot older and tired, and it turns out he's about to retire, but you only get 10 minutes of that before we have another big action set piece, this time with kind of there's a super cool badass CIA chick with an afro, which kind of threw me off. I was like, I'm glad to see Black people in here, but I cannot believe the Nazis who she is obviously around are. I thought she would have been shot in that scene. Honestly.
Is she a Nazi or is she a?
There are no Black Nazis.
Well, yeah, no,
that's what I'm saying. And he was so clearly racist to his the valet that brought him his meal.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, sister girl about to get it. But she doesn't get it until an hour and a half later. Spoiler alert. But I really did enjoy, I think to Tawala's point, it is not, because it's too long, it's not as well-paced or as direct as the original Raiders. But it is a lot more of an Indiana Jones movie to me than even Temple of Doom.
Yeah.
And Crystal Skull doesn't even count. That is definitely the worst, period. That is number 4. Number 4 is number 5 in the list. And depending on how you feel about Last Crusade and them having to shoehorn in the blonde Nazi who's sleeping with the dad and the son and all that other stuff, this was a solid, if poorly paced and with a slower Harrison Ford Indiana Jones movie. If you like Indiana Jones, I think you'll like this. I think you'll appreciate it as a coda to the series, because if you thought it was going to end on Crystal Skull, you would probably be ready to throw all your Blu-rays out the window. This is what I consider to be appropriate, and the callback at the very end really put a button on it. I gotta admit, I felt away. Yeah. And when they recreated that moment from the first movie, I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry."
That's what I told Mo. I said, when they were in the past and doing all that shit, I was like, "What?" To me, I was like, "You're going the Crystal Skull route." When they were in the past and all that, when they came back and they brought it back to Marion, and they did the call back to Where Does It Hurt? Right. That gave me some feels. I was like, oh damn, you guys are gonna do it. You're gonna and it gave me a satisfied feeling of like, you know what? This has been a great adventure. And for everyone who hated Shia and Crystal Skull, the way that they treated and the way they explained the way Shia is absent in this film, that also hit me. I did not know that they were going to address it in a way, you see a letter or something in the beginning of the film kind of acknowledging him. And I thought, well, that's just quick. But then they go deeper into what happened to Shia's character. And I was like, oh shit, that I don't know why that's fucking with me right now, but I felt some kind of way about what happened to his character in the overall story. Welcome, Dr. Liz. How you doing?
Hi, everyone.
Yes. Anthony, did you see it?
Yes.
Yeah. We got you.
No, I haven't seen it, so I can just wait.
No problem. Before we get to Dr. Liz, I did want to hear what McBain has said, because McBain said, I got something for y'all. I've been anxiously awaiting this review.
I really, really do not enjoy paying money to see a horrible movie. But this ain't one of them times.
What is that? Where's that jacket on too?
He's wearing a fake fedora that looks like a Cabbage Patch Doll fedora instead of.
I love it. Fedora. No.
So I did not hate this movie. It's better than Crystal Skull. I gotta eat my crow. Fucking, I liked it. What do you want me to say? The goddaughter was really getting on my nerves at the beginning, but then she grew on me. The little kid Teddy grew on me. Mm-hmm. The movie was a little long, but it's an Indiana Jones movie. I love the de-aging of Indiana Jones, but him still having the same old ass voice. That was funny to me. That was funny to me. That was funny, but you know what? I love Harrison Ford. I don't care. There were a few times throughout the movie where I kind of scratched my head, and the biggest one was when they're fighting on top of the train. and Indiana Jones is with his friend, and the Nazi has the spear, and the Nazi loses the spear. So the Nazi then pulls out his gun, and I'm saying to myself, "Motherfucker, you had a gun this whole time. Fucking use it." It's like, huh? What?
Yeah.
I don't care. I like the movie, man. I mean, I don't know why it's doing bad. It was the Indiana Jones movie, and the callback at the end, it got to me too. I just, hey, man, Harrison Ford's the man, and I got to eat my crow. That's all I got to say. That's all I got to say.
That's dope. The hat is dope.
You know, go ahead, Liz, you saw it too, right?
I did.
So.
Oh, my bad.
You the last one.
I mean, look. This is another one. I'm not a big fan of Indiana Jones, but I began to sit back and was like, oh, now I realize, like, the thing that attracted me, especially to the Indiana Jones ride that I think is no more at Disneyland, is, it was National Treasure before, National Treasure, and I like National Treasure. So I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good time. I did think it was a little long after a while. I was like, okay, when is this going to end? But I'm going to tell you my favorite part that probably is not, some of you may not like, is when he didn't want to come home.
Yeah.
I like that.
And I felt that was so realistic, because when you've studied something for a bazillion times and you've been stuck in this time period, I thought it was, first of all, hilarious that this fool didn't, you're supposed to be the scientist that created all this stuff that got people to the moon, and you didn't think about the fact that there would be a deviation that you need to consider. Your math ain't mathing, and y'all went all the way back to the Roman period
or whatever. Yeah.
and to the war in Syracuse. You didn't think this through, but I thought it was funny. And then at the same token, I was like, I can understand why you didn't want to leave. I did think it was hilarious that the girl knocked him out and was like, no, you going.
Yeah. See,
and he took him too long to wake up, though.
I felt totally different. I was getting mad. I mean, like I didn't hate the scene, but I was like, motherfucker, if you leave Indiana Jones in the past, I'm gonna be fucking pissed. It got the right reaction out of me.
Right.
But then, like,
I was angry in the beginning. I was like, dude, don't do this. If you do this, I am going to be hot.
Yeah.
But
then when she, as soon as she punches him, I feel happy.
I was, up until Indiana literally explains why it wasn't a pathway to any time you wanted to go to. He explained that it was a fake. That was a feint. And when you saw the propellers on his tomb, I was like, oh, wait a minute. There was only one trip that ever happened, and the only trip that ever happened was the one that exposed Archimedes to the fact that he was right. And so the Nazi, he was just buying off on the fact, just like Hitler was buying off on anything that was a spiritual totem, that it was going to be able to turn the tide of the war, not realizing that, just like with the Ark of the Covenant, they were wrong. They thought it would be able to do something. It just ended up killing everybody. And so you were just wrong. And so to me, that was a very good callback to the first movie, where a Nazi thinks he's going to fix everything, but it's not supposed to be that way. The problem I had, and I let it go because, again, it's an Indiana Jones movie and there's magic and time travel and all this other sort of stuff, so why get hung up on the details? But the Nazi is looking at them as they speed away on the boat, right? He thinks they're supposed to be heading to Alexandria, and he says, but they're heading west. And all of a sudden, he ends up in Sicily like 5 minutes after them. I'm like, first of all, your boat was sinking. How did you get another boat out there? Why would Sicily be the first place? How would you even know? And I was like, but it had to happen for the movie to happen. And this is just like Belloc and everything else. I mean, there's always some dumb bullshit. So I just ran with it. In the overall scheme of things, I thought they did some very smart things. And among the smartest things that they did is that in the first 3 movies, he had to have a love interest. He didn't need a love interest. He's a fucking archaeologist, for Christ's sake. And so the hunt is the love and his passion. And so they did a familial connection with his goddaughter, and he wanted to protect his goddaughter, but he also wanted to protect the dial and all this other sort of shit. And I thought that worked. And Teddy is a much less grating young sidekick than Short Round, who is a very broadly drawn stereotype of an you told me that right here, and
Dr. Jones, Dr. Jones.
That was super duper offensive in retrospect. And with Teddy, the first thing they show us when they're introducing Teddy is that he's a kid who wants to learn how to fly an airplane. And he's got a fake airplane set up in this hotel trying to learn how to fly an airplane. So when you call back to it at the end of the movie, when he actually is called to fly an airplane, it doesn't feel completely out of the blue. He's a smart kid. He's a resourceful kid. He knows how to drive. He knows how to do all this sort of stuff.
And swim too. Call back to that as well. Call back to that. And he learned how to swim. It was a great callback to that as well. That was a great callback.
No, they just did a very good job. And I read a critique that said it feels like Spielberg, but it doesn't have the exhilaration. I'm like, bullshit. This movie, I think, is suffering from a soft season overall. There have been a lot of big movies that have underperformed. Coming off the heels of Crystal Skull, Crystal Skull opened to $100 million a Memorial weekend, but it was so shitty, it kind of killed interest in the franchise. Now you have a movie that is an enjoyable adventure with Harrison Ford, who is having his 4th or 5th resurrection of a career at this point.
Right.
And he's been working out too, apparently.
They made a conspicuous shirts off scene with that. I was like, he may be 80, but he's still got abs.
He has a show on Apple TV that is hilarious.
The psychiatrist show, right? Shrink or something. This is a dude who's doing amazing things for a person his age. I give them a lot of credit for crafting a movie that I enjoyed. I enjoyed it a lot. I could barely get through Crystal Skull. I was horrible, annoyed by it. But this one, it was like, this is an Indiana Jones movie. If you like Indiana Jones, if you like the character, if you like the adventure, they recycled the John Williams music.
The music cues were perfect, on time.
They did the whole thing. They really did the whole. Mads Mikkelsen is a great Nazi villain. They had the guy from Sandman, the Corinthian from the Sandman, as a New Jack American Nazi, and that's to your point, Mo. The Nazis are like neo-Nazis, basically. Nazi adherents. You got some Germans, but you have some American Nazis.
We have Nazis right now.
Exactly what I'm saying.
But the thing that I like about it is that it always touches back to how America accepted Nazis.
Yep.
And we don't want to have a deeper conversation about the fact of how we were supposed to give them back for trial, but we don't. We hardly ever did. A few of them we did, but and we accepted them simply on the basis that we know that they could contribute and help us in other scientific research, especially going to the moon.
Hail Hydra.
There's a lot of them in NASA.
Oh yeah.
And we
my main worry was that they were going to Luke Skywalker, Harrison Ford. That was my worry. They don't do that.
No.
Okay. So good. So I was like, okay, you did Luke Skywalker, Indiana Jones. Okay. Thank you.
They ended with that question mark, even though we know it won't go any further. Harrison Ford is like, no, this was the last ride, but they ended on a very positive. The legend of Indiana Jones lives on. Kind of I passed it on to the young lady. Not no. It's my story isn't done. It's done in a film sense, but that it ended on a very, very solid note. That I even for the theater was empty pretty much. It got an applause. That final scene where the hat is grabbed. It got a lot of applause where people were like, good, man. That was solid.
It was empty on Thursday, what's today? Saturday. It was empty on
Saturday.
Thursday and Friday. But you know what? It was actually pretty full. All the Saturdays that I was kept looking, trying to figure out which time I was going to go, it was really pretty full. And I'm wondering if it's going to pick up, because I do think this is a lot better than The Flash. And if you have to choose between the two, then you go see this one. Screw The Flash.
Oh, ain't nobody seeing The Flash no more anyway. I think it's gonna pick up, and I agree. I saw a 4:00 show on Thursday, so I wasn't surprised that there weren't many people in my theater.
Yeah.
There were about 10 or 15 of us. There were 2 rabid fans in front of me who literally are like doing exactly what Ryan was talking about, where it's like, you know, oh yeah, see what's gonna, and I had to move. I just got up. I said, "You motherfuckers right here." I moved 3 rows back so I could enjoy my movie in peace, because they were on some bullshit, and I was like,
that's the worst part about fucking movies is the people, man.
My God,
you're not at home, dude. You're not at the fucking house where it's just
entire
YouTube.
Fuck out.
Yeah.
I want it should have been Indiana Jones and the volume dial of nothing, so I could have just turned your asses down, because that shit was not the business. So I think what you're gonna see is, hopefully you're gonna see word of mouth. People who saw it on Saturday and applauded and raised the roof and were coming out, oh my gosh, that was amazing. People will watch it on Sunday. Monday is a day off for basically almost everybody. So the Monday numbers should be pretty good. And then, you know, probably softer on the 4th of July, because people are really cooking out and stuff. But I think it'll pick up. I think it should do better than 60 million. It should do at least as well as The Flash. And it really should do a lot better than The Flash, because it's
it should do a lot better. Hopefully.
And I don't think there's anything
I think a lot
big
of
next week.
there's a lot of negativity surrounded around. I just believe in Hollywood, just ageism. But I think they did not do anything with Indiana Jones as an older Indiana Jones that was just so unbelievable that you were like,
well,
he can't do that.
but he was still putting in work after he got shot. I'm like,
but he's always putting in work after he's gotten shot.
Not when he's fucking 80. Come on, man.
Well, no, hey,
no, that's the part that I loved, right? When he was
calcified action.
Remember when he was climbing up the climbing, and he was just like, he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm thinking,
right? You a damn lie.
My
People
back,
breathing hard.
He's
like, go on ahead out of me.
But yeah, he had a lot of good one-liners. Subway's faster. That was funny to me.
It wasn't like silly, jokey, like, I've got to put a joke in here. It was like, this is an old man saying some old man shit. It was just enjoyable and clever. They did a good job of capturing Indy. By the way, Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning opens next week, so it doesn't have a reprieve. It's got to get that business in this first, because Mission Impossible is going to be a monster.
I think that's what the complaint was, is every week you have a blockbuster coming out.
Yeah, they could have spaced it out a little bit more, except for The Flash. They should have opened this last week. So that The Flash could have just died a death, because The Flash ain't going nowhere.
Dead Reckoning next week, and then the week after that you got Oppenheimer versus Barbie.
Right. Yeah, it's big. Flash actually should have used the Dial of Destiny to go back and cancel the filming of The Flash.
If they could have
all that bullshit.
The other thing that hit this week, also in the realm of Disney, which, if you look at it right now, the top 4 films in the box office right now are courtesy of Disney trying their best to keep fucking box offices alive. Without Disney, the box office would be doing nowhere near as good this summer as it is. But on the television side, but I'm saying, like, with Elemental, with Guardians, with now India and Little Mermaid, those 4 films are really helping out the summer overall. And just by proximity, Spider-Man, because it's propelled by the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the connection there, Disney is helping that film as well. So it is because of these properties coming from Disney Studios and anything connected to it, that the box office is winning. And on the home side, I mean, Secret Invasion is quite possibly one of the most astoundingly good Disney Plus MCU series that has been created. Thus far, 2 episodes in, I have been treated to that same level of flawlessness that I got in Captain America Winter Soldier. Sam Jackson is now and forevermore the fucking man. Episode 2 was 80% of just dialogue, and I was still on the edge of my seat watching this shit like, give me more.
Him and Rhodey going at it was great.
That was great.
Oh, that was one of the best. That was one of the best speeches to come out of the MCU because it was black as fuck.
My only regret on that one was it wasn't a one cut in the frame together. It was back and forth. I think I would have liked it better if it was just the 2 of them sitting at the table, one camera, and then just them going at it the whole time in one take. But you know, whatever. Can't win them all.
What do you think about Secret Invasion, Mo?
It's the best Disney Plus series, bar none. I know recency bias, but it's the tonality of Captain America, Winter Soldier. It has the seriousness of the best of the MCU. We get to learn about the personal side of Nick Fury. It was alluded to that he had a wife. He said that in the Winter Soldier, but we didn't know if he was telling the truth. Now we know that he is telling the truth. She may be a Skrull, but we know that Nick Fury is that dude. We get to hear something about his upbringing, and you get this larger allegory of racial strife in the United States, and the Skrulls who are saying like, and basically told the Skrulls, y'all don't know what we went through. Y'all can shape shift and you can blend in anytime you want. And to think that this country, this America, is going to accept you when it accepts nobody else, hell no.
Right.
I mean,
Well, I wouldn't even.
That was
The whole planet. Shit.
Yeah, the whole planet. I wouldn't even say America. The whole planet wouldn't accept them.
Well, they didn't even accept people when we saw Falcon and the Winter Soldier. They didn't even respect the people who had moved in to fill in the gap from the blip.
The blip.
So it's like
they didn't accept the blip people back.
Right.
These are my
the consequences of this
Falcon and the
series.
Winter Soldier is so good.
Yes.
This is right in line with that level of storytelling. The most point. This is in line with the serious side of Disney from when Kevin Feige said we are going to have something for everyone. This is a show that is for those who appreciate the more serious side of storytelling within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Yes, you can have Miss Marvel, which was a fun teenage romp, but for any grown-ass man, it's like we don't relate to the adventures of a 16-year-old girl. It's not a coming-age story for everyone, but it is a solid story. This story here, I promise you, it's not for kids. It's not for people who want superhero action. This shit is so intelligent, so brilliantly written and acted. The acting in this from Ben Mendelsohn, from Sam Jackson, now Don Cheadle, from what is it? Ben Amir
Mendelsohn.
Not Mendelsohn.
Gravick.
The
Gravick,
the guy, the Kingsley Ben-Adir.
Kingsley Ben-Adir. Look, every single one of them, the performance that they're putting in, even Homegirl, who is like the London heavy or the UK heavy.
Oh, she's
when
a badass.
She walks into that room and she's like, tells everyone like, here, y'all can leave. Where's the escape room, by the way? Okay, good. Thank you. Bye, everybody. I'm like, yo, this shit is so flawlessly written. It gives you hope for the MCU storytelling ability. I know many people fell off with so many of the films that came out because the larger story has been lost. But when you look at this story and how the events of this story affect everything that we've seen since Captain Marvel, storytelling wise, from Captain Marvel, which precedes the Avengers and the foundation of the Avengers, and now you know from this series that there are 1 million plus Skrulls on the planet. When they came, at what point, what they're doing, there's so much that's about to happen with this.
Hey, Twala, let me just jump in one thing. Twala, to your point, I think the casting is immaculate and intentional. If you understand the backstory of the Skrulls and the fact that they chose how they wanted to present themselves to society, and Gravick chose a multi-ethnic man, I'll put it that way. to almost align himself with the people who endured the greatest struggle in various forms. He could have been Muslim, he could have been black, he could have been a little bit of everything, but I think that was telling and intentional to tell a specific story about a wronged people. Who, you talk about the America not living up to its promise. This is the world not living up to its promise, Sam Jackson's promise, and Gravik wants to put that face on it and in their face every single day. That's all.
Yeah,
Facts.
I think that one of the things that really jumped out to me about this is that I was waiting for an offering from the MCU to make me feel the way I used to feel about the MCU in Phase 3. We had so many disappointing sequels in Phase 4 and then Phase 5 with Quantumania and everything else. It was like between Multiverse of Madness, disappointment, Love and Thunder, disappointment,
Yes.
Quantumania, disappointment, and then you get this series, and it's like, this reminds me of why the spycraft subgenre of the MCU films really have been my favorite. I love Winter Soldier. I thought Falcon and the Winter Soldier was awesome. Even Black Widow, because it was less about superpowers and it was more about spies and stuff and international intrigue. I dig that. It's why Mission Impossible is one of my favorite franchises now. After stumbling in the first 2 films, it really kind of found its stride. And now with the whole Rogue Nation and this new set of agents he's working with, I'm excited about seeing this next movie. I loved the last 3 movies, and so I'm excited about this one. I love the fact that the MCU has decided we can tell an exciting, thrilling story without it being magical bursts. And you do have the Skrulls changing shape, but that's really no more of a gag than what Mission Impossible did with those impossibly accurate face masks that you just peeled off. You could make in 5 seconds and go and imitate anybody. It's the same sort of gag with the Skrulls. And it fits perfectly because you know that they're a covert race. You know that they're working behind the scenes. And from what we've seen now that they tease, and I'm surprised nobody has said this, they literally tease the Super Skrull program in this episode. We had seen his arm stretch and it did look Grootish, but now we know why it looks Grootish, because they have a Groot sample and they're grafting superpowers onto the already unstable cellular structure of the Skrulls to do what they're trying to do. So we saw that they have a Groot sample, they have an ice beast sample, one presumes from Asgardian something from Dark World maybe. They have
Cull Obsidian.
They have a Cull Obsidian, which I guess is going to be super strength and durability. And then you've got Extremis, which among the things that Extremis did was it showed a thermal aspect. So maybe that's Human Torch. Maybe Cull Obsidian is the thing. Groot is obviously Mr. Fantastic, and then I don't know how Ice Beast turns into the Invisible Woman. Maybe you can transform yourself into clear ice or something. But they're gathering powers. They're not tying it to the Fantastic Four, but they're not making it exactly not the Fantastic Four. And Sam Jack is just a fucking boss. I mean, he is, when he grabbed that dude's hand who thought he was gonna frog walk him out the building, he was like, bitch! And he did that little twist. I was like, you're underestimating Nick Fury. I'm Nick Fury, bitch.
When I'm out, I'm still in.
I like the fact that
brother,
it would have been so easy just to make the Skrulls like evil, because I was wondering like why are they doing this? Why are they bad guys? And then I was saying to myself, well, kind of makes sense because they were supposed to get their own planet. So now they're just saying, oh, you fucking backed out on us, so fuck you. Now we're going to take your planet. I get it. I mean, they're still evil, but at least I understand why they're doing what they're doing. So, And also, dude, I love it. This peak Nick Fury is whenever you know the question he wants to ask, but he tells this long story, the story about his past, about telling me something I don't know. I was like, where's this leading to? And then he looks at homeboy and goes, tell me something I don't know about the Skrulls. Like he knows exactly what he wants to ask. He knows something's wrong. And I love that scene. I loved it.
That scene, just that quick journey into America's past. When he's breaking down, riding on the back of that train in a car with no bathroom and packing food. I'm just like that, like that's the type of stuff that when I hear those stories, I think about things that my mom used to tell me about growing up, and I think about the America that she grew up in and that she saw. And so when I hear him talk about these stories, even from Winter Soldier, when he tells the story about his grandfather being an elevator operator, I'm like,
Right.
yo, man, like this is fantastic storytelling, and it's very unapologetic in what we're doing here with the MCU. I like how this story ties directly into what's going to happen with the Marvels. Like they call it out by name, that segment of Skrulls that are off world, under the rule of the individual who's the big bad in the Marvels, the Emperor. And so I'm like, stuff like that to me is very, very dope to connectivity. It's my hope that this is a return to true form for Marvel, because Guardians is on point. Now you follow Guardians with something like Secret Invasion, and it gives so much light for where this storyline could go. And even, of course, with Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse or Across the Spider-Verse, I'm like, look, y'all got 3 for 3 right now, 3 for 3 with winners. This is a very, very good sign for the MCU. Very good sign. Shaka says, even when I'm out, I'm in. Yes, brother. That is exactly it.
Well, all I know is everything I'm looking at this, especially second episode, I'm like, okay, so wait a second, who's a Skrull? So now I'm going back into my head.
Rhodey's a Skrull. That's what I think.
Yeah, it's Scrody.
Absolutely.
Scrody.
But I'm just saying that I am constantly going back in my head thinking, okay, so when was there ever an off moment with someone? So then I can possibly be like, oh, that was someone who did something, and so I do think
that's how they work.
Show
that is how they operate.
It's very discombobulating.
It is kind of weird because, like, I think Rhodey or Scrody was asked Fury, like, could you get a hold of the Avengers? It makes me think, like, wouldn't Rhodey be able to do that? And I'm thinking why he wants the Avengers here is so they can steal their powers. I'm just guessing.
And that's why Nick says Avengers?
No. Yeah, I was about to say, we know She-Hulk is on planet, and we know that at least Bruce Banner was also on planet, and at least temporarily, and his son was on planet, but Thor is off-world.
Yep.
You got Hawkeye still there. But we don't know what they've done as far as the advancements in the Avengers program, which is a very telling line of when you say,
Falcon, Captain America,
are you calling them?
But Falcon doesn't have any powers. Yeah. And Winter Soldier is super soldier serum. Their Skrulls are already basically super soldiers. And we don't know what it would do.
I'm just saying they're a part of the Avengers, but I'm saying, like, if you're going to,
well, maybe Winter Soldier is, and maybe he isn't. I don't know if he's still somewhat in a very weird gray area.
My thing is this: Nick Fury knows how to get a hold of Captain Marvel if he wants to. That's all my thing. He can probably get a hold of anybody.
He's coming back. Yes.
Yeah. But I'm saying that just your point saying, if you're going to call, shouldn't Rhodey be able to call? And we all know that Rhodey it does keep in touch with Falcon / Captain America.
He keeps in touch with everybody.
Well,
he's the official liaison now. So I think very few of us believe that this Rhodey is not Scrody. I think it's pretty obvious he's Scrody. I think there's a fair chance that the president is a Skrull as well, given that they showed that the British Prime Minister is a Skrull and the head of the UN, blah, 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 is a Skrull. They're basically signaling you had an Asian person of indiscriminate country origin, so probably he's supposed to be from China. You had an Indian representative. You've got people representing billions of humans worth of countries, and they are at the top of the food chain. And so it's clear that the Skrulls have been on an intense mission. And whereas Secret Invasion in the comic book side was all about them imitating Earthbound superheroes, this seems like the focus is a lot more, for obvious good reasons, is a lot more about the political intrigue that they can affect change with by being who they are. So,
hey, Tom, you had a pillar of media. You had pillars in politics.
Yep.
You had pillars.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you had the Rush Limbaugh dude too. Yeah.
Right. So that they were very strategic in the sense of we were going to control the messaging, we're going to control technology, we're going to control the laws across the world. That's the way I read it.
They had Shooter McGavin. They had Shooter.
See, this makes me think that he could be. See, this makes me think that in Spider-Man, when he reveals who Spider-Man was, like that could easily have been somebody who could have been a Skrull. See, to me, it makes me go down memory
Mysterio?
lane.
That was the internet conspiracy, yeah.
But Mysterio released that
Not
video.
Mysterio, but I'm talking about.
You're talking about J. Jonah Jameson?
Yes.
But that was the internet conspiracy that they were going to present Peter Parker as a Skrull Peter Parker and then Spider-Man, regular Peter Parker. They were going to present them and be like, no, it's not. That was the internet conspiracy theory for part 3. But obviously that wasn't true. They just ran with the exposure of Peter Parker as Spider-Man.
Right.
Interesting.
Which at the end of Far From Home. At the end of Far From Home, that Nick Fury was a Skrull. So the easiest thing in the world would have been for him to imitate Peter Parker and have Spider-Man on screen while he's imitating Peter Parker. That was
the whole internet conspiracy.
Right. It would have deflated it because nobody knows about the Skrulls at this point. But of course, you wouldn't have had No Way Home if you didn't have to make the world forget he was Spider-Man. And so it's fine.
And I wonder if, the leaders in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, right? So the leaders and the whole premise when he gives that whole speech.
Thinking the same thing. Is Ross a Skrull? Was Ross a Skrull in Black Panther 2?
Well, no, because he got shot.
Was he, right?
No, Black Panther 2.
Well, you can
not
get shot.
2.
Oh, not 2, yeah.
You can get shot and still not transform.
Yeah, that's true too. That dude lost a finger. Didn't transform.
But when she chopped off his finger reverted to Skrull, and he was bleeding. So any tissue that had been in that wound for Black Panther 1 would have reverted to Skrull tissue.
I'm talking about part 2 though.
No, I know.
See, I don't think he could have been, because my question is like, how did he get here? I agree. The first season. I mean, the first episode. So
it makes more sense for him to have been replaced when he was on the run after what's her name nabbed him.
Yeah.
After the Midnight Angel grabbed him at the end of
because I feel like maybe he's in Wakanda or something to that effect.
But the thing is, like, why would a Skrull replace him when he's going to jail? I mean, was he? I don't understand.
No. He got rescued before he was going to jail, and then they realized there was an opportunity to replace him.
Okay, so you're saying, okay. No, see, my question is, so was he a Skrull right before he got rescued, or after?
No, after.
No,
after. They would have broke him out and then scrolled him.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. Look, we shall see. We got this is what a limited series, 6 episodes.
Yeah,
6.
Look, man.
And I would say the big positive on these episodes, they're pushing an hour.
All right, easily.
Yeah.
Like, you're not getting some 33-minute episode with a 5-minute.
You're getting no She-Hulk bullshit.
No,
You're getting
these are true mini movies in every sense. I mean, the story that they're telling. It's stellar, man. I cannot wait for next week. We got yet another episode of Secret Invasion, and thank you for the reminder. I forgot we got Mission Impossible Rogue was it Rogue Nation Part 1?
Dead Reckoning
Part 1. Yo, every time I see a trailer for that film, I get more and more hype when I see what Tom Cruise is doing. And when this dude said in an interview that we did the motorcycle scene first because we weren't sure if it was going to work, i.e. we weren't sure what was going to happen to me, so we wanted to get that out of the way.
Right.
Will I die?
Yes, will I die? And if I die, there's no movie that I'm all in.
That's the end.
I gotta say,
crazy.
When they were showing that behind the scenes of how they set up the motorcycle thing, I was like, how in the fuck is that a covert mission? You're building a goddamn 200-meter ramp on the side of a mountain. And then I realized that was just the framework for when they skinned it to look like a natural outcropping of rock. I was like, oh,
And
now
then he's
I
like, let's
understand.
do it again. This man is
He
I'm
did
like,
it, I think, like 6 to
they
8
shot that
times.
scene, what, 7-8 times? I'm
Yeah.
like, that's 7-8 motorcycles you done dropped in a ditch, dude.
Oh shit! That don't mean
like that's
shit.
why their damn budget was so high. I'm like, this dude,
Tax
like,
write-off.
we're gonna
shit.
do it again. Like, yo,
Dial of
dude.
Destiny cost $295 million, bro.
Wow.
Yeah.
They look like that was a lot of green screen all over the place.
No,
I
the
didn't
reason
know
That's
that.
why I can
non-accounting
see that is
marketing.
because
Right.
think
Mm.
about the time they really got everything right, as in Pan Am. The setting was so correct, like the kind of cars that they all of that cost.
You see
a
where the
lot
budget
more.
went.
Yeah.
They recreated the goddamn invasion of Athens, the third
That
act.
part.
So tons of CGI there. What
I don't know. I think, look, this is still a packed summer. Next week will be just as packed. I'm excited for it. Before we get out of here, Anthony, what you watching?
I am waiting for season 11 of Futurama.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I
Nice.
mean, that show has ended at least 2 times already.
Yeah, something like that.
At least, and to bring it back, it never gets old.
that's what's
Take
up.
my money now.
Yes.
McBain, what you watching?
Just Star Trek Discovery, and I am waiting for shit. What am I waiting? Oh yeah, The Witcher. I think it's came out this week.
Yeah, I think
With
it's season
Hemsworth?
three now.
Hemsworth,
Yeah.
right?
I get through that.
No.
Yeah.
The season 3 is still
Cavill?
Cavill. Yeah.
It's still
Or Cavill.
Cavill.
What you watching, Liz?
Okay, y'all.
Apple TV. What?
I am. Well, Apple TV, the
Silo?
Hijack is really, really good. I can't stand Silo.
Really?
I
You like
really
Hijack?
cannot. I do. I
Is-
really, really do.
Is it a series or is it a movie?
It's
It's
a
a series.
series and it's so good. But the thing that I am so excited over, I have been waiting 4 years for this. It is
Don't say 80 for Brady.
Warrior.
Okay.
Warrior.
Oh,
is
Warrior's back. Yeah.
Warriors
And
back.
I am
Yeah.
so excited. It's 3 episodes already that they dropped, and I am so excited.
Yeah.
But
Warrior was
anyway.
dope. Warrior is dope. Very dope.
So
Just
good.
the story that they're telling, that period in the foundation of America with the backdrop of martial arts. It's fire television. Robert, I have Robert is asking if for some thoughts on the One Piece trailer. I watch One Piece every week, every Saturday night. That, like, after we get off, I typically go and watch some anime with my son. Huge fan of One Piece, and I'm excited for the One Piece live action series coming to Netflix. The characters are very accurate from my understanding. The creator has been very, very involved in it. And anytime something does not look accurate, does not look like it should be in One Piece, he's like, nope, shoot it again, do it again, take it out, whatever. So I'm excited about that. Mo, what you watching?
Jack Ryan season 4 is dropped.
It sure has.
Oh,
Shit.
Did it?
isn't this the final season?
It
Yes,
is.
it is.
Is it
I'm on episode
episodic
3.
or is it the whole thing?
Say it again.
Is it episodic, like weekly, or do they drop the whole season?
They dropped the first 2, and now the third one is now in for the second week.
Nice. What's on your TV, Tom?
Hijack Ryan. And I have to say to Robert, I don't like how Luffy looks.
Really?
I don't know. It's it's just not working for me. I asked my son, my oldest son is a huge One Piece fan, and he was like, yeah, Dad, I don't know. It's not like that the hat is wrong. It was just something about his face, and I guess because his eyes are such a prominent thing in the anime, and he has normal eyes, and so it's kind of like the Spider-Man eyes that get real big, and I don't know. I just wasn't. The other characters I was fine with, but just he's One Piece, so he's got to be right. And unlike the Avatar casting that we talked about last episode, he just didn't. he just didn't work for me. I'm not saying I won't watch it. I'm just saying he didn't really connect with me as him. But I'm very excited about Jack Ryan season 4. I think that Mike Krasinski has done a great. Yeah, Krasinski has done a great job as Jack Ryan. I like Idris Elba, and so I do like, and I love taut kind of thrillers. They're saying that this is a real-time show. It's not as real-time as 24 purported itself to be so far, but I like claustrophobic, tight thrillers, and so I'm vibing with that.
Nice. Well, next week we'll be back with Secret Invasion and Mission Impossible. Don't you miss it.
We got Mission Impossible.
We got Mission Impossible. We got big shit next week. Big shit is dropping. Big shit is popping.
Okay.
Till then, Anthony, take us out, good sir.
Good news, everybody.
McBain. Mo Kelly.
Brother.
Dr. Liz.
Give them hell, Indiana Jones.
Yes. Tom.
Where is my fedora suit?
Excelsior.
I know you like this hat though.
The hat is the business.
That hat is little.
I got a big head.
Man.
That's what it is.
Better than that shitty ass coat.
Okay.
Yeah, damn Jack.